October 2022, a single document from the US Commerce Department, barely 20 pages, wiped out Nvidia's access to world's largest market overnight. Jensen Huang watched his China market share collapse from 95% to zero, not because of competition, because of a rule change in Washington DC. That's when the world realized the most powerful chips on earth aren't just technology anymore. They're strategic assets in a new tech Cold War between the US and China. An academic paper literally calls these chips the commanding heights infrastructure of the 21st century, sitting next to nukes, rare earths, and energy in the toolkit of state power. Think about that for a second. A small group of companies, most people will never see their factories, never meet their engineers, now quietly decide who gets to build the next generation of AI. Whether a startup in Bangalore, a lab in Beijing, or a defense contractor in Virginia can train a frontier model. All of it is gated by access to GPUs. For the first time in history, great powers are fighting for control over atoms measured at 5 nanometers, because the country that controls these chips controls intelligence itself. 90%. That's how much of the AI training GPU market Nvidia commands. According to 2024-2025 estimates, in practice, if you're training a frontier scale model, the default answer is still, can we get enough Nvidia? Their H100 and H200 aren't just processors. They're passports to the frontier. Every breakthrough paper, every viral demo, every "we just launched a new GPT killer" tweet, behind the scenes, you'll usually find racks of H-class GPUs humming away. Then came Blackwell, the B100 and B200, a platform pushing nearly 1.4 exaflops per system. Nvidia pitches it as the engine of a new era of computing. Even supercomputers bow to these GPUs. AMD fights back with MI300. Intel tries with Gaudi. Dozens of startups promise miracles. Wafer scale engines, analog compute, photonics. On paper, some of them look incredible. In practice, most big labs still build around Nvidia because of one word: ecosystem. CUDA, compilers, libraries, kernels, dev tools. Decades of software gravity lock people in. It's not that AMD or Intel are dumb. It's that Nvidia has spent 15 plus years quietly turning its GPUs into a full software platform, while others treated theirs like just hardware. But dominance paints a target on your back. Every GPU Nvidia designs still depends on a factory thousands of kilometers away. A factory sitting just 110 miles from mainland China. And that takes us to the next layer of this war. Imagine a map of the world at night. Now zoom into Taiwan. That cluster of light, barely visible on a globe, powers most of the world's advanced chips. Because inside those buildings sits TSMC, the most important company in the digital age. TSMC mastered 7 nanometer, 5 nanometer, and then 3 nanometer manufacturing. It prints the brains behind Nvidia, AMD, Apple, and nearly every cutting edge device you have touched in the last 5 years. Apple's M1 and A series chips, AMD's Ryzen 7000, high-end AI accelerators, they all rely on TSMC's process technology. The US knows this is a strategic vulnerability. That's why the CHIPS and Science Act throws billion at semiconductor manufacturing, and even more across science and tech. Washington doesn't just want jobs, it wants insurance. TSMC agreed to build fabs in Arizona, but only with heavy subsidies and tax breaks. One analysis pegs the combined investments and support at over $100 billion across multiple fabs. Even then, the US may still not hit its goal of producing 20% of the world's advanced chip by 2030. Here's the nightmare scenario. If conflict erupts across the Taiwan Strait, global AI development doesn't slow, it stops overnight. The world's compute supply collapses, while everyone scrambles for backup fabs that don't yet exist. And yet, even TSMC isn't the final boss. Because to make these chips, they rely on a tool only one company on earth can build. Martin van den Brink, former CTO of ASML, once said, "If ASML stops, global chip progress stops." And he wasn't exaggerating. ASML builds the EUV lithography, machines used to etch the tiniest transistors humanity has ever created. These things are the size of a bus, cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and require an ecosystem of suppliers just to assemble one. No EUV, no 5 nanometer, no 3 nanometer, no future nodes. The US realized this early. Starting in 2019, Washington leaned on the Dutch government to block EUV exports to China. By 2023, even some older DUV tools were restricted for certain Chinese labs. China responded with its big announcements. State media hyped an EUV-like machine called Zigzag. Headlines claimed the gap was closing. But independent technical analysis from CSIS suggests those breakthroughs are overstated and far from ASML class capability. It leaves us in a bizarre situation. One company in the Netherlands, ASML, has become a kind of a gatekeeper for global AI. Their export decisions, often shaped by US pressure, quietly decide who can manufacture leading-edge GPUs at all. And that's where the war leaves the clean war of engineering and walks straight into raw power politics. In 2022, the US dropped a digital bombshell, sweeping export controls on advanced semiconductors and AI chips to China. Nvidia's A100 and H100 were suddenly banned from the world's largest electronics market. Nvidia responded with A800 and H800, chips engineered specifically to sit just under the performance thresholds in the US rulebook. It was silicon diplomacy. Same architecture, tuned to please Washington, it didn't last. In 2023, rules tightened again. The workaround chips were also restricted. By late 2024 and 2025, new variants like H20, L20, and L2 designed for China ended up effectively blocked as well. A trade brief from the US International Trade Commission describes how licenses are now required not just for GPUs like A100, H100, H200, and AMD's MI300, but even for certain data center products destined for D5 countries, China and other considered high risk. The 2025 AI diffusion rule goes even further. It tries to control how chips move through third countries, closing loopholes where hardware should be shipped to, say, Singapore or the UAE, and then quietly rerouted to Chinese entities. Beijing calls this abuse of export control measures and accuses Washington of weaponizing the supply chain after guidance against Huawei's Ascend AI chips. But the message from the US side is clear. AI chips are no longer just products, they are policy instruments. Can China catch up without access to the world's most advanced chips? Huawei and SMIC are trying. Using older DUV tools and clever process tricks, SMIC has produced 7 nanometer class chips for Huawei's Kirin smartphone processors and Ascend AI accelerators. On paper, that sounds like a miracle under sanctions. Analysts say SMIC remains roughly 3 process generations behind leaders like TSMC and Samsung. Yields are limited, costs are higher, and scaling to true mass production is extremely difficult without EUV. One Reuters report on Huawei's new MateBook highlights that it uses an older 7 nanometer class China-made chip instead of the rumored 5 nanometer part. For Beijing's narrative, that's awkward. It's real-world evidence that US restrictions are biting. US officials estimate Huawei's total 2025 output of high-performance Ascend AI chips at around 2 lakh units. For comparison, Nvidia ships millions of data center GPUs globally each year. None of this means China is stuck forever. The country is pouring billions into domestic lithography, memory, and alternative chip architectures. But when you strip away the slogans and hype cycles like Zizi, The technical gap is still very real. And while the US tries to slow China's climb, another front in the GPU war is opening up. One that doesn't care about ideology at all. It only cares about physics. OpenAI's future data centers could consume 250 gigawatts of electricity, almost the entire power consumption of India today. To keep that running, analysts estimate you need roughly 60 million GPUs in continuous operation. And because AI hardware becomes obsolete within 2 years at models advance, you would need around 30 million new GPUs annually just to maintain capability. That's not a data center anymore. That's a new kind of power plant. And GPUs are only half of the story. High bandwidth memory, HBM, is now just as strategic. Without enough HBM stacks, your shiny Blackwell cards are just very expensive heaters. In 2025, OpenAI signed a letter of intent with SK Hynix and Samsung to lock in future HBM and DRAM supply, and markets immediately reacted. SK Hynix and Samsung shares spiked as investors realized the AI boom doesn't just crown GPU makers, it reprices the entire memory industry. Meanwhile, governments are spending fortunes trying to catch up. A Peterson analysis estimates each new US chip job subsidized under the CHIPS Act effectively costs taxpayers about $185,000 per year, roughly double the average industry salary. It's the security bought at a premium. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The GPU wars aren't really about GPUs. They are about factories, physics, energy grids, rare materials, and national security. They're about whether the future of intelligence is concentrated in a few fortified data centers or spread across many nations with real bargaining power. Right now, three companies, TSMC, ASML, and Nvidia, hold the keys to the future of intelligence. That concentration of power has never existed before in human history. And the world is just beginning to realize what happens when you have outsourced the future to a few factories on an island 110 miles from your adversary. So what do you think about these GPU wars? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, as we'll see you soon in the next one.